All right, guys, I'm back. I'm back. That's right. You see the title. The future of money is here. Yes, the future of money is here. I don't even know if you know where the world is actually moving to, where the world is actually going to, where we're headed, right? You see, the infrastructure is being laid into place right now. Okay. Now let's give a couple different scenarios. All right. Now let's say the road, or let's go back to the dirt roads. Okay. The dirt roads, of course, we had no pavement. You still had your stage coaches, you still had your horses, that thing for transportation, right? So before there were paved roads, you had the dirt roads, right? All right, now stay with me. Okay, now you start to see the world changing, right? You start to see everything around you evolving, right? Now, hmm, you're thinking to yourself, what's actually going on here? What's actually going on is the infrastructure for transportation is actually evolving. It's actually changing, all right? It's growing, all right? This industry, right? For transportation. Now, I mean, how convenient is it for, let's say, cars to drive on these dirt roads? Now, it's like before there has been paved roads, well, they did start making cars, and now it's like, wow, let's see. Instead of having dirt roads, let's have these paved roads, right? You have paved roads now, makes it easier and smoother for these cars to drive onto. And now, instead of it taking days, maybe months, to get from one destination to the next, from point A to point B, using these stagecoaches, using these horses, right? Now transportation becomes a bit faster, right? I mean, if you're actually staying with me, right, then you will know this, right? So it is moving a bit faster. It's getting a bit more advanced right now. People had to walk places, right? People had to walk places to get point A from point A to point B. They had to plan for months on end. They had to leave their families to get to a certain place, to explore, to actually probably go and pick up uh, some valuable things at point B, right? And it used to be brutal back then because now you had to, withstand the ever changing weather, the seasons, right? You have to prepare for the winter in these stagecoaches, on these horses, or just walking. Now, as time is passing by, you see that the means of transportation is becoming a bit more convenient, right? So, what's going on is, like I said, instead of using stagecoaches and walking, now what's happening is they've created cars, right? I believe Ford were like one of the first cars or whatever. They start creating cars. So who's really needing horses anymore, right? Transportation has become a bit faster, a bit more convenient. All right. That is how the world works. Okay. So what's happening is you start seeing these paved roads, and you're like, what's actually going on here? Well, you need the cars to drive smoother, right? And not only that, they start creating highways. You have these highways, right? You have bridges, right? And it's getting you from point A to point B relevantly faster, all right? More convenient, all right? Now, what's happening is now it's like it's not about the cars, it's not about the paved roads. So, what is it really about? Hmm, what makes those cars go? What are they powered on? That's what we should be investing in. Now, you see that the infrastructure is being laid. You see that they are building these paved roads, building these highways, building these things or convenient strategies and ways for people to get to point A to point B faster. They have these signs telling you where to go. There, it's just all of the you got landmarks and just so many things that makes it more convenient for you to get where you're going. But now, what you're not seeing is what is the most important thing to invest in now? What makes the cars go, right? You see the infrastructure being laid out, right? You see that people are not really off of the horses yet. It's like a transition, you know. They're not really done with the stagecoaches. They don't even it's like, you know, something that's being introduced. People don't hop on it right away. It's like it has to become the norm. It has to become regulated for people to even, take this thing seriously. What don't you see, right? It's like reverting back to the title. The future of money is here, right? So you have the highways, you have the newest, the cars that have just been invented, the paved roads, the signs, right? So what's making it go? What is making it go? You know? Gas. Yes, gas. So what I just explained to you was the infrastructure being laid, and you see it, right? The cars are money, right? Let's look at the cars as money. Stagecoaches, old money, right? Or how money moves. The old way of how money moves. Stagecoaches, walking. It's the old way of how money moves. Cars now. Mm, Cars. That's the new way of transporting this money. You see, new rails are being built, right? The rail system for money, all right? Instead of a bank or large institutions moving their money from point A to point B, they would have to have a lot of liquid on hand for fees. When you want to move that money, you got to wait a little long. The process is dreadful, right? 3 to 5 days for the transaction to process, and you know, like I said, you got to have money liquid on hand to pay for the fees, right? You have to get all of these acknowledgments, all of these sign offs, and it has to be confirmed by 100 million different people just for your money to move from point A to point B. Just as I explained how the car situation, transportation, the old way of moving that money is now what's happening to the money, the transportation of money now that nobody is paying attention to. You see that they call it the railways, right? You see the infrastructure being laid out, right? Now, like I going back to what I was saying about the cars, once you see the highways and the paved roads, you know what's coming next. Gas stations. That's what we need to be investing in, okay? Because, like I said, people They're not off of the stage coaches yet. The cars are something new, but people will join later as time goes on because they see that this way of life, this strategy right here, this invention is very, very convenient. And once they catch on, you'll already be in from investing in gas stations. You'll start to see gas stations popping up everywhere, right? Everywhere. Because you know where the future of transportation is going, right? You know where it's going. This is something you believe in. Why wouldn't one or a person take a car over a stagecoach? I mean, the transportation is much more faster, it's much more convenient, it's much more easier for you to get from point A to point B. Traveling won't be as harsh anymore, right? Now you have the future of money. Now, these large institutions can move their money from point A to point B that much quicker, 3 to 5 seconds with low fees. No confirmations, everything's on the blockchain for confirmation, right? So you have to think what's moving this money? What's allowing these large institutions, I'm talking about millions and billions of dollars that need to be moved every single day, what's actually allowing these these large transactions to be moved in the way it's moved as I've just explained, 3 to 5 seconds with low fees? What's allowing it? I'll tell you. So what's allowing these large transactions to be moved from the day-to-day basis? I'll tell you. XRP, Ripple. So I look at XRP as the gas station, right? Gas fees, right? I mean, if you think about it, this is what's actually moving the money, right? The future of money, right? Now you got XRP for your large institutions, right? And then you got XLM for the retail, as far as moving money goes, right? So this is why I'm investing the way I am, because I know where the future of money is headed. I know where it's headed. I know where it's going. Most people want instant gratification. Most people want instant gratification. Most people are looking to receive a return within the first 6 months. That's not just how this works. You got to be looking at a 5 to 10 year play. That's how it works. And I've told you from time and time again, you have to accumulate in the downtimes, accumulate when it's boring, accumulate when there's nothing going on in the market, accumulate when there's fear, not when there's greed. Accumulate, accumulate when it's low. Accumulate when people are saying it's a scam and that the market is crashing. Accumulate throughout all of the boring years. But you have to make sure that your cash flow stays up or you won't make it to the other side. Okay? Don't increase your lifestyle, increase your portfolio. Okay? This is how the game works. Where's the future money headed? Or the future of money is here now. And this is something you need to be paying attention to. And I hope you do. All right. This is J Tuna 900. And I will see you guys on the next video. And drop it in the comments. Tell me what you investing in. All right. I want to know. Hit the subscribe button if you like what you're hearing. And hit that like button. All right. Let's get to the other side together. Peace.